So we're delighted to be joined by Megha Bhatia from Eve, and we are going to be discussing all things Eve, all things updates with Eve. So Megha, after you. So Megha, you've been thrown in the deep end a little bit. You're 2 months in to your time at Eve, after time at Rolls-Royce and JSSI. So how have you found first 2 months at Eve and getting to grips with everything advanced air mobility?
Oh, fantastic. Yes, I joined Eve a couple months ago, and I have to say, I couldn't be more excited about the opportunity and the potential. Eve has a great leadership board of directors and a fantastic team, some of whom are here today, that have an excellent vision. They are working really hard to essentially create an all-electric eVTOL aircraft, but also complemented by service and operation solutions, as well as an entirely new urban air traffic management solution called Vector. So yeah, fantastic. It's been a fantastic ride so far, and I'm really looking forward to the adventure ahead with the team. Secondly, the company has great momentum with regards to sales and our relationship with our customers. We have the leading order backlog, nearly 3,000 eVTOLs, and that would actually value to about $14.5 billion approximately. And that spreads over 30 customers and across 12 countries worldwide. Thirdly, we are taking an approach that is holistic. So it's not just about delivering eVTOLs, it's more than that. And so we are looking at a whole suite of solutions required to support the operations. And we've found so far that customers find it quite attractive. The value has been demonstrated by our services backlog, which values to about $1 billion, actually over $1 billion, it's 1.6 approximately, in services backlog. And we have 14 customers and partners that have signed up to, or that we've partnered with for Vector. We're also in a strong position financially. So just on Monday this week, we announced a $35 million investment with Brazilian National Bank. And this is actually a second phase funding, which followed $92.5 billion credit line. Sorry, not billion, $92.5 million credit line, followed by a $50 million investment from Citibank recently, all of which is dedicated to eVTOL program development. And this really solidifies our financial position, and this is, like I said, dedicated to eVTOL development. And so it really ensures that we are fully funded when it comes to development, certification, all the way through 2027. A strong sign of confidence and a very good position to be in this industry. As for me, I am focused on working with our customers and partnering with our customers to develop their plans, develop the business cases. A lot of talk that was done, a lot of good discussions early in terms of ensuring that the vehicles are profitable, and firming up their orders as we progress towards certification and entry into service.
Perfect. One thing that obviously Eve is spun out of Embraer X. One thing Embraer and Eve both have in common is that their whole team will sit at the front for the whole conference and not really move, because I know Michael Malfitano, who you're familiar with, will sit at the front the whole time. That is, I see, also true with Eve. So if anyone wants to find Eve at any point during the next 2 days, they'll be right at the front, so you'll know where to find them. So moving on slightly, obviously Embraer, Brazilian, certifying through ANAC. How's that going? They recently published the airworthiness criteria. So what does that look like?
Sure. We just announced recently that ANAC has published its final version of airworthiness criteria for Eve's eVTOL aircraft. This followed a period of public consultation, so it's a significant milestone for us and a critical step in the certification process for Eve's eVTOL aircraft. The next steps in terms of type certification is to work closely with ANAC and define a means of compliance for Eve's eVTOL aircraft. And I think when it comes to, since we are in the United States, when it comes to the FAA, we're concurrently working with the FAA because our goal is to secure our certificate in the US shortly after the Brazilian certificate.
So on that, in your Q3 earnings call from this year, you said that flight testing's going to start next year for your aircraft. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. So
you've done your homework.
I try to. Not all of it, some of it. So what's that looking like? How's that process? Is that sort of on schedule for 2025?
Sure, yeah. There were a lot of good discussions earlier, and I think I'd like to reiterate that from Eve's standpoint, we've always said we are not looking to be the first. We are looking to be the right choice for our customers. And so, you've mentioned how we've spun out of Embraer. We have a unique relationship with Embraer. We're strongly connected to them. And our customers really value that relationship. So we've been transparent about our expectations and plans with our customers. We've unveiled our full-scale prototype earlier this year at Farnborough in July. And we have already begun carrying out ground tests on our full-scale prototype. And we plan to carry out flight testing next year, like you said. We're also building our conforming prototype next year with its respective campaign, flight test campaign to commence in 2026, which would then bring full certification into 2027. So that's the timeline we're looking at with regards to entry into service. Now, I do want to reiterate, our target is not to be the first eVTOL to get certified. We want to ensure, speaking of safety and high-quality aircraft, we want to ensure that we deliver a mature and reliable product that would meet our customers' needs. And so we're working closely with our customers to fully understand and build that business case, but would meet and exceed our customers' expectations.
But with Embraer's history of certifying aircraft, you might end up being the first by accident without trying.
Well, no comment. But I'll hold you to that.
So no one will have seen, because everyone will have been paying great attention to what's going on stage, but this morning you announced a new agreement with Heli Inc., which no one here knows about yet. This is the first you're hearing about it. You haven't read the press release.
Yeah, nothing happened this morning.
Yeah, nothing happens here. So do you want to explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for bringing that up. And this morning, we did announce that we signed a letter of intent with Heli Inc., a leading helicopter and vertical lift operator in the US. And they have over 40 years of experience and operate in over 30 metropolitan cities in the US. So we signed an eVTOL, a letter of intent with them for 50 eVTOLs, and we're super excited to partner with them. We're super excited to add a credible helicopter operator to our portfolio of customers. And I would like to give out a special shout out to Ryan Harbison, Vice President of Business Development for Heli Inc. He's right here with us. We're super excited to have them and add them to our portfolio of customers. I would like to add, this is an important agreement for us, but I also think having a leading helicopter operator is a strong sign of confidence and fantastic news for the industry. I think one of the things to consider is that when it comes to electric aviation, it's not just an alternative mode of transportation. Yes, it will give you the cost savings, it will give you the time savings, but it is another era in aviation. It is the next era of aviation. It has tremendous potential to advance the industry and tremendous potential to take it to the next level, which is why we say it's mobility reimagined. If you talk to Tom Wagner, and if I may speak on his behalf, and Ryan's here to keep me honest, he will tell you that he sees several benefits to adding eVTOLs to his operations. Some of them include competitive cost of operation, fewer parts, less noise, of course, environmental benefits, but also optimized systems and structures. And so when you take all of that into consideration, I think there's a lot of benefits to adding eVTOLs to the operation.
This is building on the 2022, you did some work, Heli Blade, you guys operating helicopters around Chicago in like 2022. So this is just a building on that sort of previous.
Yes, coming full circle, absolutely.
And you mentioned your tech care and vector sort of suite of solutions you got, as well as building an aircraft and sort of those services and those operation solutions. Is that sort of the differentiating factor do you think Eve's got as opposed to other eVTOL developers, or are there sort of other things as well as that that's sort of built into the differentiation?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When it comes to, I'll go back to your original question, which is tech care. I think they were in two parts, so I'll address the first one. When it comes to tech care, we just recently announced tech care at MRO Europe, so it was about a month ago. Feels like a lot happened in a month.
You've done a lot of announcements in a month.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's you. That's all down to you. That's what happens since you joined.
Oh, that's right. So in the last month we announced tech care at MRO Europe, and you mentioned the relationship with Embraer. So we have a strong connection to Embraer, and I'll talk about the several benefits we get from that in a second, but more specifically to tech care, we are able to access, as part of those benefits, one of the key things is we are able to access their ready-to-go global service network. If you think about Embraer as a whole, there are over 70 service centers in the network, either wholly owned or authorized service centers around the world. And MRO, that includes both service centers and MROs, right? And so our customers, our eVTOL customers, Eve's customers, will have access to that network from day one, from entry into service. So that is one of the elements that we would like to highlight for our customers, and that's why we feel it's a differentiating factor. Not only from the ability to give top-notch or high-quality care to the customers from day one, but also from a capital and a financial investment perspective. Now, if you look at tech care and our approach to services, as I mentioned before, we're taking a holistic approach. For us, and these were some really good discussions earlier, it's not just about delivering the aircraft. Once you get the eVTOL, what's next, right? And so we are trying to ensure that we're working to deliver a suite of solutions that would help the operations of the aircraft, that will aid the operations of the aircraft from entry into service. And then you have the air traffic management software, which is Vector. You talked about our connection with Embraer. So there are a number of benefits that we get from that, but one of the most robust benefits you get is being able to leverage the engineering, the design, and the certification strengths from Embraer. So I'll give you an example. One of our full-scale prototype that we launched, that was a combination of Eve and Embraer's engineers coming together to develop the prototype. And it was also all the ground tests that are being conducted at Embraer's facilities as well. So here's an example of the strengths coming together. We're also able to leverage the intellectual property and access their technology. So for example, the 5th generation fly-by-wire system, that's going to be incorporated into Eve's eVTOL aircraft. What does that do? How does that translate? It translates into accelerated development times. It translates into lower development costs. But also, if you think about it, all of that expertise we're using to also develop a simpler design. And that translates to, once again, reduced costs, faster development times, but what we're really focused on is higher aircraft availability and improving the reliability of the aircraft. So that's going to reduce the maintenance costs and the operations time for our customers. There's also, sorry, I know, I'm going to, last one. Go ahead,
keep going.
Last one.
Keep going.
But we also believe that this is going to make the aircraft more profitable. So coming down to these aircraft have to make business sense. And so that's one of the main or the key areas of focus for us.
Perfect. And we're coming up on time. These 20 minutes always go very quickly. So while we wrap up, Mega's going to be around for questions afterwards as well. So if you've got anything after this session, just go and find her at the front of the room, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that's where you'll be.
Yes, I'll be right here.
You're going to be right here, so feel free to go and ask her questions. What's the one big takeaway message that you'd like to leave with everyone from today?
I think one of the things I'd like to say is that the next 12 to 18 months for our industry are critical, because that now are when things are going to become material. So I think it's incredibly important that we as an industry remain closely aligned to be able to, I'm going to say 3 C's: think collectively, constructively, and creatively to come up with solutions and solve for the infrastructure and airspace requirements. There's a lot of pieces that need to come into place together at the same time at the point of entry into service, but also to be able to accelerate adoption and ensure sustainable growth for our industry. So it's incredibly important. And one of the things I want to say is that while Eve may be a newer company, we're still a mature company because we're able to leverage that connection with Embraer. We've got over 1,000 employees, and so we're working on these solutions to ensure that the customers have what we need. And as an industry, we have to work together to do that. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Megan. That was great.